Hey guys, Loot Wizard here with another video on Gems of War, and we have the 4.7 update. It is live. Now, as some of you may know, I wasn't really excited about this update, mainly for the reason that they are adding epic tasks to our guild tasks, which means that we're going to have to spend even more gold than we used to. It used to be about it was 15.6 million, yeah, to get up to legendary tasks, and legendary tasks was a really fun thing for a guild to get around and save up enough gold and go ahead and get those legendary tasks rolling. Now we are going to have to spend a lot more gold than if we want to do those legendary tasks, but the benefit, if you can call it a benefit, of these new tasks is that we get to have a more reliable way of getting all of these new resources that are in the game. So the shards that are used in the underworld for those troops, that's going to be a part of the epic tasks. There's now writs which are introduced, which allows you to craft deeds so you can upgrade your kingdoms more, and so on. We have pet food and the ingots and all that stuff. So not really that crazy excited about that, but before I go into all the detail of talking about a lot of these things, I'm going to be listing off 7 things that are highlights from this update that I think are actually good things that they did to change. And the first one is weekly guild seals limit is increased from 1,500 to 2,000. So now we have 2,000 limit here. This is great for those players that do get more than 1,500 seals per week. The limit's now increased, so we can get 500 more seals than what we used to be able to get per week. And this is really going to help a lot of guilds out, I think, because some members just aren't as active as other members, and the ones that are really active can now help get the entire guild up to 40,000 seals a lot faster, and that's when you're going to be able to get a higher chance of getting rare troops and your legendary and mythic troops. So, as a rule of thumb, you never want to open your seals if you're in a guild and you're getting these seals. You never want to open these seals for your guild chests until you are 20,000 to 40,000. 40,000 seals for that week is the best. Okay, so moving on to point number 2 is that the arena is getting a rework in a future update. And so they've removed a arena run task in preparation for this. So I'm really excited about that because arena, when I first started out in playing Gems of War almost 2 years ago now, the arena was a really fun thing to do as a lower level player because you didn't have a lot of troops yet, you didn't have a lot of weapons, and your hero classes weren't as leveled, and so it was harder for you to compete in some of those PvP battles. And arena gave you kind of an option to play and still get some rewards, but those were times when there was a lot less to do in the game too. So now we have a new event every single week. So we have a Tower of Doom event, we have raids, and we have the siege event too. Back in the day, we had Guild Wars every single week. So there's a lot more in the game to do, and also like the underworld with all the factions and delve runs, and we didn't have that either back in the day. So it was pretty much just your explore battles and your PvP was like the main things, and then Guild Wars. So now there is so much more to do, and arena just kind of fell off, and got boring once you leveled up high enough and you got some good stuff. So I'm really glad to see that they're going to do a rework of this in the near future, because I think that they can really do some amazing things with arena battles, and that will be great. So they're adding or changing a few things here to the guild shop, which I don't really ever use, so I'm skipping over that. But for the point number 3, one of the highlights here is that a pet gnome bait is a new collectible that guarantees a pet gnome in the next PvP battle that you do. I'm not quite sure how we're going to collect this pet gnome bait yet. There isn't a whole lot of information other than what's right here in these patch notes. And I will read this section here just to get you guys up to speed on whatever information here is available. It says the pet gnome bait is a new collectible that will guarantee the player receives a pet gnome in their next PvP battle. It does not need to be activated. It automatically baits a pet gnome in the very next PvP battle. The pet gnome encountered by using pet gnome bait cannot run away, so players don't have to worry about him disappearing. That's actually really good. I'm glad that they thought of that and they actually implemented it, because that's really annoying when the pet run or the gnome runs away, right? And when you're in a battle and it's like, oh man, if I would have killed that thing before it ran away, I could have got the rewards. So that's good. And it says here, if an existing pet rescue is already running before the player can play a PvP battle, the baited pet gnome will not appear and the bait will not be consumed. So that's great. Any pet gnome bait a player owns will stack, so if a player is unable to use it 1 week, they will not miss out on a pet gnome bait if they purchase the pack again. Okay, so actually the pet gnome bait looks like it's from the Elite Bundle in here. So that might be the only way to get it right now, is in if you buy this package here. Yeah, pet gnome bait is a $20 package in the guild shop. You know, I was a little excited about it there for a second. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna pay $20 for guaranteed pets. All right, so moving on. Moving on to the highlight number 4 is that there are 6 new guardians in guild chests. Now, they made some changes too to this and to make it better, I think. So remember, like in the old days, and it still is this way, but now it's the old days after this update, where you had to get there were so many guardians in those guild chests, right? And they were like the most common thing that dropped, and it kind of got in the way of your chances of getting legendary and other mythic troops. So your chances of getting those were lower as long as you had all these guardians. And once you get one of these guardians to mythic rarity, they no longer appear in the guild chest. So I actually used a lot of my ascension orbs, which I regret now, but I used them to upgrade all those guardians so that they wouldn't appear in guild chests, so that when I open the guild chest, I have a higher chance of getting those legendaries and mythic troops. Well, they made some changes here that I think is good, along with adding these 6 new guardians. And that is that players will only need to have a guardian at mythic rarity with 4 copies of it, and then the guardian will no longer appear in the chest. So we're only going to need 4 copies of each one of these guardians to be able to upgrade them to mythic rarity. In the past, man, I don't even remember the exact number, but I want to say that it was somewhere around like 100 troops of these things that you needed. It was pretty high. It was kind of ridiculous. So I'm glad they made that change. That's good. And the other highlight number, this is like highlight number 5 or something, isn't it? Guild Wars will no longer require, or wait a minute here. Yeah, I mixed up my list. Sorry about that, guys. So they did make an improvement to Guild Wars here. We've been listening to your feedback, they say, and they made a change so that the guild score every day will use the top 27 guild member scores, and if there's more than 27 in the guild. This means that big guilds who have 3 members absent during the Guild Wars don't feel punished for this. And that's good, right? So sometimes, Guild Wars, you get like, a few people that just don't do their Guild Wars turns, and it feels like, it's kind of like hurting our team, right? So yeah, that's a good change. And then we have trophy changes, and this is highlight from highlight number 6. So difficulty here, Explorer difficulties will now be giving out trophies. So if you're winning battles between difficulty 1 and 4, you'll get 1 trophy per battle won. And for difficulties 5 through 8, you will get 2 trophies. And for difficulty 9 through 12, you will get 3 trophies. Now, I think this is actually a really good move, because some people would rather play Explore battles than PvP. Because in PvP, you have to deal with hero classes, you have to deal with hero weapons, which are, some of them are really destructive, like Essence of Evil. And if you're a newer player and you don't have those types of weapons, oh boy, you know, like it's like I still dread going up against like rope dart. Like I hate going against rope dart in PvP battles. Um, but so if you want to farm trophies, you can go into Explore and you can pretty much predict, like based on which kingdom you're doing Explore in, like what kind of troops are going to appear in those teams, and you don't have to deal with a hero class or hero weapons to farm those trophies. So that's good. And finally, the last thing on the list here is, well, no, the second to last. We got one more after this. Tian Yi, a mythic troop, has gotten buffed, which I think is amazing because, yeah, I've probably only used this troop like twice since I got it, and it was like, when did it drop? I think it was like February or something like that. It was early this year. So what they did to him was they changed his normal splash damage to heavy splash damage. So if I remember correctly, heavy splash damage is 75% of original damage done to adjacent troops, which is a lot. So that's good. Then his magic levels have increased. His base spell damage has increased from 5 to 7. And they've increased the legendary trait on it, Monkey Magic, to steal from 1 magic to 2 magic per turn. So Tian Yi might actually be worth using now more often. I'm going to have to experiment with him a little bit more. And finally, the last highlight of this update for me is that you can now play a level 50 delve battle in any of the delves that you have in the underworld, no matter how high it is. So if you want to go back and you want to farm that delve, you can at level 50. Now, I don't think this is going to be as good as keeping it at level 20 for farming, but it certainly makes all those delves a lot more accessible, right? So if there's a certain delve that you already leveled up, but it's a better one to farm, now you can farm it at level 50. So that is great. That's a good change. I like it. So those are like 7 or 8 things, highlights from this 4.7 update that I actually do like that they did. And yeah, if we want to continue playing the game, we're just going to have to live with these new epic tasks, and that's the way it is. So, alright guys, that's it for my points and opinions on the new update. And thanks for listening or watching. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Later.